That's out. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody that's joining in. Um, my name is Victor Peter, right? Ukop, and today we will be talking about these three topics, right? We'll talk about code splitting and how you can split your codes into different folders, right? Instead of having everything on one folder. Then we'll talk about authentication also. And then we'll see how we can use Bcrypt to compare password. So the other time we talked about just only hashing password. We didn't see how we can compare the password with hash when we try to use it. Okay. So uh let's start. So let's first talk about code splitting. So what's even the advantage of code splitting, right? You can't write all your code, right? You can write all your back end in one file and host it. It's possible to write, but it's not scalable because at the end of the day, you have a lot of files in one, a lot of code in one file, and that won't be ideal, right? If you have everything in one file. So let's see how we can move some things out of here. Okay. Okay. So first thing we want to do is we can leave the connection string here. It's not an issue. Okay. We can move this product schema right to the schema part. Now, there is what is called MVC, model view controller um design pattern, right? So you can have you can use an MVC pattern to make sure that what we have right is being arranged well. So the when we say MVC, model view controller, is an acronym. So the M part, right, is for models. So of course, you know that this is a schema, right? This is a schema, and this is we creating the model, right, for the database, right? And the model consists of the model name and the schema for that particular model. So what we can do is we can create a folder called models folder, right? That's one. Then um we don't have the view part for our code, right? Because view has to do with like the front end, right? So, but at this point, we are not actually doing front end on Express. So, another thing to note, okay, you say,
Increase your size.
okay, okay. So, you don't need, what was I saying? Product schema, right? This is for you can move this to your products, right? So, okay, yeah, models. You can move this to a models folder, right? You can move everything that has to do with schema and model to a model folder. Then we can have a view folder, and the view folder would have to do with everything that has to do with your views. So, if you're rendering HTML on Express, you can actually render HTML on Express using what they call a templating engine. So an example of a templating engine would be EJS or POG, right? Those are like two very popular ones. Now we can do that, but we don't really need it, right? So we have the controller. So the controller can be where you put all your controllers, right? So now let's look at a route. So this is a route, right? And this is the controller. This function here is the controller for that route. So anytime we hit this route, this controller will be executed. Okay. Now let's see how we can actually split our code. We can create. So we need to create some few folders here. The first folder I want to create is the model folder. Did I? Okay. So sorry, I was supposed to create a folder. I would call it models, right? So these models here, right, would contain everything about the model I'm trying to work with, or I'm trying to work with or work on. Then, uh, I would also have controllers, right? So I would create a new folder. I would call it controller, right? Then another folder I would necessarily need to have also could be, so now this is another thing you can do. You can decide to split your route and your controller. You can decide that, okay, the routes, right, should be in one folder while the controller should be in another folder. So let me do that in this project. So I'll just create a new folder. Sorry, I'll create a new folder here. I'll call it routes to have all my routes. Okay. Then there's also what I like doing on a project. I like creating a utility folder. I'll just call it utility or utils. So why do I have this folder? So let me explain them one by one. Controllers are for functions, right? Things are controllers that I may want to reuse, or even if I don't want to reuse them, right? But I just want all my controllers to be somewhere which I can always reach out to. Models is going to contain models. Route is going to contain the route, right? And then also routes are going to be linked to models. Then utility folder is for whatever I want to reuse. So if I have something I want and I know that or let's say I have a piece of code or a function that I'm sure I would want to reuse every time, right? I'll put it, I'll create a file inside utilities, right? And put that function in that file. Okay, so we have a product schema. So I can create a model. First, I'll create a model. I'll call it product model. You can call it product model or you can call it product, anyone. But I don't think there's any need to have the model because it's already in models. So I'll just call it product.js. Okay, we have product.js. What we need to do now is we move this products collection to the products.js. So I'll cut that. I'll come to the products.js, paste. Then of course I'll export it. So module.export equals to now it's the products collection you will export because that's what you would use. So you say product collection there. Okay, then also what do we do next is I think that's the only module or model we have. So what are we left with here? We are left with routes and controllers. So this is what I can then do. I'll move all the routes to the route folder. So I could just say, I'll create a file here. I'll just say products. So that's products.js. Did I say .j? Sorry, .js. Then here, what I'll do is I'll say
That looks
cons.
good.
Yeah,
But we already have product.js now.
yeah, we have okay. We have products.js in models. So this here just contains only the model. I can decide to call it product model, right? But this other products here, right, is or let me rename it to product routes. But it won't. It doesn't really mean, right?
But the route, adding the route would be better. Product
Okay,
route.
yeah,
Thank you.
I've got that. So express there equals to require express. Sorry, require express. Then I could say product routes cons product product route or product route equals to express dot router. So with this, right, you've created a router for yourself. You've created a router somewhere. Then you can just say module dot export equals to product route. Then here you can have all those routes, right? But now we just need to change this server to product or product route. So I'll just copy all of them because all this have to do with products. Okay, so I've copied that. I'll just need to come here, product route. I'll paste it. Of course, I'll have to change server to, I have to change all the servers here to product route. Paste, 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 paste. Okay, then the next thing we need to do is we need to import this product collection because we don't have it here. So we can say const bracket open bracket close equals to require. Of course, how do I import it? I'd say dot dot slash to go back a folder, right? Then I'll say models forward slash product. Then if I come here and press my control and space, I see product controller here, or product collection, sorry. So I've basically imported my product collections here. So they should work. Now, another thing I want to do is I might it's your personal preference though, right? You can be okay like this, leave this stuff like this, or you can decide that each route should have their controller in the controller folder. So I think I'll do that. So I'll just say maybe in the controller, I would say I'll create a new file out and I'll say it should be product controller .js. So here this would just have different functions for the product controller. I'll just come here. I hope you guys are following. Is there anybody that's confused already? Anybody?
So can you
Everybody
take it? This
from here?
product, yes, this product controller.
Okay, so product controller, I've not done anything on it yet. What I want to do is I want to move all the controllers for each route to the product controller controller folder or to the product controller file. So this is what I'll do. I can copy this or cut it. Sorry, I can cut it and come and paste here. In fact, that's what I'll do. I'll just copy or cut all and paste. So just do that. Which other product route is there? Okay, this one to get list of products. I'll just do that. Uh, so if you're seeing now, I'm separating the controllers, right? I'm separating the controllers. Then this is the last one. Cut it. Come to product controllers, paste it. Then all I need to do is these functions are anonymous, so I can actually start giving them names. So I could say const create or create a product or create products. Then here I could say this is to update a product, right? So I could say const update products or update products. Then what do we have here? This one is to get all products. So I could say const get all products. Uh, here is to get a product. So const get a product, get a product. Then this one is to delete a product. So const delete a product. So what I'm left with now is exporting all I've done. So I'd say module.export equals to so I'll just need to copy all this. So what I just did there is I was holding my alternate key and double clicking on each of the names I want to copy for people that might not know what I did. So doing that, we have all we need to export. So I just need to put comma to separate them. So we have create products, update products, get all products, everything I need here. So coming back to my product route folder, I need to import what I've done in products folder. So, and also, okay, let me just delete this because we are not using products collection in this file again. So what I'll just do now is const bracket open bracket close equals to require okay, yeah, require dot and forward slash. So I want to go into my controllers. No, I'm in my route folder and I want to go into my controller folder to get product. So product controller, if I just press my controller and space now, you're going to see all we've exported. Create a product. This is what I'll do instead. I'll make it look that way. Create a product, delete a product, get a product, get all products, and what else? Update the product. So here to post the product is to create a product. So I'll just put here create product. This is to update the product. So that would be update product. Then to get all products, right? Uh, that would be get all products. Get all products. Then to get a product by ID would be to get a product. Okay. Get a product. Get a product. Then to delete a product, right? We have delete the product. So I've splitted the code. So all I need to do is on products folder now, or on the products controller file, I just need to import product collection. So at the topmost part of this file, I'll just say const course, that is going to be equals to now. If you're using if you're using VS Code, right? Of course, you should be using VS Code. If you want to automatically import things, right? Import something, just like for example, this product collection, I want to automatically install it. I'll just delete the N and put it back there. Or look, I can just come here and just press Control and space. It will give me a suggestion for where it feels that that product collection is, right? So if I click on this, it automatically exports it and imports it for me to use. Okay, I hope you guys understand that. Yeah, I hope you guys are following. Is there anybody that's confused about how we got here?
I'm lost somehow.
Huh?
I'm lost somehow.
Okay, so where did you lose?
All this importing and exporting to this product controller and route product.
Okay, so this is the thing. I was saying the reason for splitting your code is because you don't want everything to be in one folder, right? Or in one file. Imagine this was a project that had users table, it had products table, it had order table, it had the others routes and controllers, and you're putting all in one file, right? That won't be easily scalable. Okay, that won't easily be scalable because you'd be working, you'd have a lot of code on one file, and if there's one thing you need to look for, right, you don't know the line of code, right? That's even if you know the line of code, that thing is when you add more code to your project, the line of code to what you've done, right, will change.
Okay.
So instead of that, instead of having everything on one file, right? Like remember all these things was just in our index.js file. So instead of having
Yeah.
everything inside our index.js file, you split them so you can create a a file, right?
Okay.
A folder and a file to have just routes, all the routes you need. You can have a controller folder, right? To house all your controllers.
Okay.
You can have a model route to have all your models, for example. Then I just created this utility in case
Utility.
there's something I want to
Yeah.
reuse, like use a couple of times. Then I can just use util. For example, um maybe hashing and comparing passwords. If I want to use it like twice, instead of writing it twice, I can write a utility to compare and hash password for me instead.
Okay.
But uh, for now, I don't think that I would start with utilities first. Okay.
No.
Yeah. So I hope I've answered your question.
Yes. Yes. Please.
Okay.
Another question. What will we know to identify that this one is for model? This one
Okay.
is for a controller.
All right. So um, look at your model, right? Your model has schema, right?
Okay.
Product
Okay.
schema, product collection. Of course, this um product model and then the schema, right? This whole
Mm.
thing, this whole what you've written here, right,
Yeah.
would be able to your model and your schema would create what is called a product collection when this code is executed. So that product
Okay.
collection, you can refer to that product collection as this name here. This name can be anything. I can just name this maybe product, but the reason I'm using product collection is in case I want to call it, right? I won't start thinking about okay, what's the name of this what's the name of this collection I'm working on. I'll just call it. Or if I was using SQL, for example, I would rather name this maybe table, product
Okay.
table. Then anywhere I want to use this product table, I just write product table and then press enter when the suggestion shows. So it will just automatically import it for me.
Okay.
Okay. So
Thank you.
okay. So we've splitted it, right? We have product collection. Now let's go back here. We still have more things to split. We have a um user schema here and a user collection here, and we have some routes for users. Okay. So let's see how we can also split this. Now, since we have a user schema, it means we need to create a new model, right? For users, because we have we have user schema, we have user collection, which is supposed to be for users. So if we do that, if we come here, right click, you can create a new file, you can call that user. No, usually this is usually in plural, right? Users, products, or how you want it. So, but I'll name it user.js. It's currently empty. I'll move the code for the user collection, which is this code from here down here. I'll cut it. I'll go into user. Okay. Well, um, okay, let's continue. I don't know what actually happened. Let's continue. Um, so we've imported mongoose, right?
No, we were on user. User.
Huh?
We were on users something.
Yeah, we are on user schema. Yeah, so let me also import mongoose here because it's mongoose we are using to create the schema. It's also mongoose we are using for the model. Then what we just need to do here is we would write module.export. Of course, we want to export the user collection. Waiting, yeah, okay. So I've exported the user collection, right? So the next thing I want to do is, since we have user routes too here to maybe to create user and to do other things, right? Okay, to create a new user, right? Okay, so let's create a route folder for that. A route file. So sorry, a user route file. So I'll say user route user route .js. And on the user routes, I'll just in fact I would have
Hello,
copied that.
sir.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay, ask your question.
Inside this your user JS,
Uh-huh.
you did you import mongoose? Meanwhile, in the app.js, there's still in the index.js, there's still mongoose again inside of it.
Yes. Now the index.js from this mongoose that's inside. Sorry, the mongoose I import in this index.js, right? See it here. This mongoose is used to connect. Have you seen mongoose.connect?
Yeah.
So
Then
still
inside the user.js.
inside the user.js, we've not used user.js. Okay, this one, right?
Yes.
Yes, this is used for, see, we're referring to, if I remove mongoose, right? If I remove this mongoose, this won't work. Creating of model won't work. Can you see? Because we are saying we are using mongoose.schema. Where is mongoose coming from? So if I don't import it, right, it will throw an error. Do you understand?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let's come back here. I would say const express should be equals to require express. Then of course would say const user routes. User route should be equals to require. Oh, did I say require? I'm so sorry. Express dot router. So now let me explain what is this. This express router, right, allows us to split our code, our routes, our routes to a different folder. Now, mind you, we are still going to import this route though. We are still going to import these routes in our index.js and register them as somehow like middleware. So we are not done yet. Now we say user routes will just export default module.export equals to user routes. And this module.export has to always be at the bottom of your file. User.routes. In fact, exporting is usually the last thing you do. Although you can export one by one, sure. You can say export const user routes, anyhow you want to do it. So then what I'll just need to do here is for the server, right? For this new user, I'll just copy everything I have here. Where is it? I'll go to this user routes. I'll paste it in here. I would have to change this server to user routes. So I'd have user routes dot post user. Then remember, this is a uh this is a controller, right? I can move this controller to users controller. I don't have users controller.js, so I'll create it. I'll say user controller dot js. So in here, I'll just carry this user route. I'll just cut what I have here and paste it here. Of course, we need user collection, and user collection is in models, right? So const user, no, I'll put it in brackets first because of the way I exported it. So const that should be equals to require, then I'll say dot slash with user. Okay, so what I'm doing here, what am I trying to, okay, user collection. So I'll just say models forward slash user. Then here I can hold down my control and space, and you would see user controller there. So I've imported that. What I now need to do is I need to export this function, but this function is anonymous, so I have to assign it to a variable. So I could say const register user equals to async. Then at this bottom, what I would simply do here is I would say module dot export equals to register user. Okay, so I've done that. I'll come back to user routes, and then once I just type register user, it will come up. I can just click on it and it will automatically import it for me. Now let me explain the flow of this thing. Okay, there's one thing that is left. All these routes, right? The products routes, user routes, I need to register them on index.js. How do I do that? So here, first I'll import them. First, I'll say const user routes should be equals to require. So at the end, right after doing this thing, I'm going to explain to you what is happening. I'll say dot slash, which is in my current directory. I want to go into routes, and inside routes, I want to go into user routes. Then I'll do the same for product routes. I'll say const product route. Product routes equal to require, then here we'll have dot slash routes / products routes. So we have user routes, we have product routes. What we just need to do here is at any point here, I could say route, sorry, did I say route? Server dot use. So logically, your routes are somehow like middlewares too. So we would say if we are going to / product, anytime we go to / product, we are referring to product router. Anytime we are going to, so this is going to modify this. What I'm doing now is going to modify the routes slightly, and I'll show you why. So I could also say server dot use / user. We are going to use the user routes. Okay, so now let me explain, right? When a request, right, is made to this server, where it goes first is this index.js, because this index.js is the entry point, right? So it comes to, or Express picks that request, and Express checks in the index.js, right? Is there any route that starts with / product, right? Let's take, for example, you want to create a product. It will Express would take that request sent from front end and then check, is there any route, right? Or is there any controller, or sorry, middleware that has / product? If there is a middleware that has / product, it would hand that controller, right? Or it will hand that request to that particular middleware. So that middleware would uh hand the controller, right? Or hand the request to the appropriate controller. So now if we look at product routes, if we press control and we click on product routes, you see that it takes us to where we have everything about our products. So if you send a post request, right, to slash /product/product, you're actually sending a request here to create a product. So this route now, the complete path to this route would be /product/product. The complete route to this one would now be /, it will now be /product /product /ID. Now you are seeing that there's already a problem with this. We already have products, right? We already have products in the first route. So why do we have it here again? We can decide to remove all these products here. We can just decide to remove all of them, right? So we just have /products /products without any extra products here. Okay, so let's see. If I remove this product, right, we'll just have /products. If I remove this one, we'll just have /products, that's product /ID. If I remove this one, it's supposed to be, this one is supposed to be /products /products. But if I remove this one now, all we will be left with is just /products, right? Then to get a product, I'll still remove that. So would have just /products. I hope you guys know where this products here is coming from. You know where it's coming from? Who knows?
No.
This /product is coming from the index.js. Remember that we said that anything that has to do with /product will be sent to this product route. So any request that comes into our server that starts with /product is going to be handled by this particular middleware. This middleware is going to give that request to product route. And if we enter product route, this product route here you're seeing is this product route you're seeing here. This user route /user /user route is this user route you're seeing here. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay, so if we enter into this product routes again, right, you see that already any now any all of these endpoints you're seeing here already has /product on it. Okay, because of what we did here, because of what we wrote here. So it already has, so I don't really need to write it again here. So that's why I'm removing them. So the same thing with users, right? If you look here, we said /user and /user, right? That the user route should be the one to handle it. If we go into this user route now, you'll see that now, if you want to send a post request to a new user, you will not just send a post request to /new user directly. You will send it to /user /this new user, because that first /user is coming from here already. Is it clear now to you guys? Is it clear? Or do I need to explain again? Nobody's saying anything. Okay, so I assume it's clear to everybody. So let's come back here let's see. We've done all these things. Now, let's try to start our server. Our server might crash, might not crash, but in all, we are going to resolve any issue that comes along. So if we say npm run dev and we press enter. Oh, wow, wow, wow. So here we have /products /products the ID of that product. But people like using plural, right? Here, but doesn't really matter. I can go back here and just change this from products to products. So which means all the routes here are going to be affected. So instead of products, we'll have we'll have products that way for all of them. So let's still test if our routes are functioning well. So let's create a product. Let me see what does it take to create a product name and a product price. So let's come back here. So I'll just say /products. Okay, sorry. Where do I create a product here? I think it's posts here. So it's going to be at /products. Then the product name is house. Let me just say let me say a car, and this would be 5,000 naira. I don't know where you can get a car that cheap, except in my showroom. Okay, so I've added a car saying product created successfully, right? I can go back here to get all my cars. So if let me delete or let me close this out, I can come back here and say /products to get all my products. And you see the car that I just created here, a car. There is already a toy car, 5,000. There is another car which is 5,000, right? And instead of buying the two cars, sure, you can just have maybe 10,000 and buy private jets. Yeah, let me add a private jets. Yeah, private jets. I'll make the private jet 12,000. You can just add 12,000. You can add 2,000 to. Okay, what happened? I'm supposed to post to products and not products. Okay, so if I go back here to get list of products, we have a toy car, 5,000. We have another car, 5,000, and we have a private jet of 12,000. So you have two options. You can buy two cars, right? Or you can keep your 10,000 and add 2K and just buy a private jet. Okay, so we can get a product by its ID. So if I say products, put products / the ID of a product, I send that request. You see that we have our private jet show up here. I can edit details of that private jet by saying a put here to that ID. I could say the name should be uh a private uh you know um Rolls Royce. This should be 20,000. I can change that. If I come back to check that particular product, we see that it updates properly. And of course, I can delete that product. So Deleting the products will just mean me copying that ID, say products / the ID for that product, and I've deleted successfully. So if I try to get that single product, it doesn't send me the products. Yeah, I like what I saw on some people, or what some people did, right? On their task, instead of just sending me an empty object, right? You can say products don't exist or product doesn't exist. If I check the list of products, what did I just do? I just added private jet again. Sorry. So let me delete it again. Sorry. Let me delete it again. And let me get a list of products now. So I just have a toy car and a car alone now. Okay. So look, it's more readable right now to it's more understanding, right? Look at this. If I come here, I just know that my root folder is pointing to different routes. It's connecting to a database. There are some middleware to handle the request body, right? That the user is sending, and the server is listening on port 3000. Everything that has to do with the business logic, right? The model, the controller, everything is in their folder, right? They are like kind of in their domain. If you look at it, models, this has to do with all the things that has to do with models, the types of, even if you have 20 models, right, 50 models, all of them will be inside models, right? And you know that every models has to do with the database connection and everything. You know that our controller has to do with the functions to process a particular request. Then you know that routes, it has to do with the final endpoints, right? The endpoints, or how do I put it? The path, right? And the function or the controller to handle that particular route, right? Or handle that particular function. So you see them here. Now everything is divided into their kind of domain in a way. Okay, so it's far more better than jam packing everything in one place and trying to use it one place. Okay, so does anybody have any question to ask or anything they want clarity on? Any question? Okay, so nobody's saying anything. If someone is saying the index URL is being mounted directly to the URL defined in the route folder. The index URL. Okay, yeah, I don't really get what you mean, but now we just said yeah, we said anything that has to do with products, right? That we are referring to the products route, right? So if you just said / products, it will come to the products route and it will check for any route that doesn't have any, let's say any get route, right? Or let's say any post route that doesn't have uh any character after the /. So if we check, right? If you check, that's this particular one. Let's say I'm posting to / products. It knows that it's / products I'm posting to, but it will look for the home route for that product, right? And then post stuff there, or post what you need there. Okay, so look at this. Now, that's for products, right? We talked about users the other day, and we saw that we could actually register users and hash their password. If you remember, let's come here. We said to create a user, right? You say register user, request the body. What I just did here was I hashed the password, right? I just said user details of password and then 10. This 10 is just the amount of times your, or let's just say the amount of steps to make it hard for someone to be able to decrypt, or sorry, to unhash this password that is being hashed. So this password is hashed like 10 rounds. So 10 rounds means it's hashed the first time. The result of that first hash is being hashed again, and so on and so forth. So each time you want to compare password, the system, right, or your program is going to do the reverse of what it did. So it's going to uh, get the password on hash, try to, sorry, not really try to unhash it, but it's going to um it's going to compare the password, right? It's going to do its comparison to see if what you hashed is the same thing as what the user is sending, right? So let's see how we can actually compare password. So let me create a login route, right? Let me create a login route or a login controller. So I'll just say const login user. Login user should be equals to async req res. Then in here, of course, I'd always put my no. Okay, let me not worry about try and catch for now. So login user, right, is going to accept, yeah, an email and a password. So const let me destructure a bit here. Email. So I'd say req dot body, right? So in here I could say I'm expecting an email. I'm expecting a password. So this here is the same thing as writing. Let me just comment it. What I've written here is the same thing as writing const email should be equals to req dot body dot email, and const password, and password should be the same thing as that, right? So instead of me writing, this is repeating myself, email, email, password, password. Instead of that, what I should do is I can just destructure it this way. So I'll just say in the request body, there's email and password, extract it and give it to me. So doing this now, I can then, so what's the step for me to check if to log in a user, right? Can someone try to describe a step I should follow to try and log in a user? Let's take, for example, there's a user and I want to log him in. What would be the step I should take? What should be the first thing I should do? Anybody anybody can try. Nobody. Everybody's quiet.
I think it should be
Okay, I didn't get
it
it.
should be alias dot locking user.
Okay. Um, nope,
Um,
not really. No, don't worry about the code. Just tell me what step I
I
want to
think
take first.
I think you will check if the user exists, if maybe
okay.
his full name exists, and then let them
Exactly,
in.
exactly. So what I want to do is I want to check if the user exists. So how do I do that? I could say const uh user collection. Okay, let me check if the user collection is okay. Okay, I could say const user should be equals to await user collection dot find one. Of course, find one. So there's find one, there's find by ID, there's find one and update, there's even there's update menu, and there's find. So let me explain. When you're finding by ID, right? You're just finding a single person, right? By his ID, but that's by the ID the database gave you or gave that record, right? But if you say find one, you can find one by email, one person by email. You can find one person by maybe his full name or something. Okay, so now I want to find one person by his email. So I can say find one person where the email is email. But there's no need for me doing this, right? I remember I said that if the key and the value are the same name, right? You can just remove that. So this email here serves as the key and the value, and it's pointing to this email. So it's just like saying where email is the request or body email. Then what I'll do here is I'll say if the user doesn't exist, that's if uh exclamation mark with user, that means this is saying if the user is empty, that's if there is no user, right? Then I would want to return res.send. In fact, I like writing this as res.send. Then I'll write my return down. But even if you wrote return before the res.send, it's still going to work perfectly well. So I would now, of course, if there is no user with that email, right, then I should send them first. I should send them a status code of 400 instead of sorry, a status code of 404 instead of 200. So I'd say res.status should be 404. 404 means not found. Then I could send a message or whatever I want to, or info, anything you want to call it. I would say user does not exist. User does not exist. So now why am I adding this return statement? When once there's no user with that email, right, and this is executed, what would happen is after this is being executed, right, return is going to be called, and return will not allow that uh this or any line of code under it to be executed anymore. So if it doesn't run this, if the user exists, this if statement is not going to be executed. Okay, so it will just continue to the next line of code. So then what do I want to do here? Remember that we've hashed the users. If the user exists, right, it means we want to check if the user's password is the same as what is being sent as password. So what I want to do now is I would say const the passwords match. The passwords match equals to bcrypt. I don't have bcrypt here, so I have to import it. So I'd say const bcrypt equals to require bcrypt. Then down here, bcrypt has a function in it to be able to compare passwords. So I'd say bcrypt dot compare sync. So compare sync is a function that accepts two parameters. It accepts the function that is in plain text and accepts, did I say function? It accepts the data, right? Which in this case is the password in plain text and the password that is being hashed, and it will compare both of them. So what I need to do is I need to pass first the password the user sends from front end, which is this password here. So I would say password. Then I'll write comma. Now the next thing I'm supposed to pass here is the next value I'm supposed to pass here is the password that, or let's say the data that was hashed. So the data was hashed because I want to compare the plain password with the one that's coming from the database. So that is, so that password is coming from this user details here. So I'd say user.password. So now what is going to happen is compare sync is going to compare these two. Is the plain password and the hashed password which I saved on the database the same? If both of them are the same, then the password match is going to be true. But if these two passwords don't match, then the passwords match is going to be false. So then this is what I want to do here. I'll then say const, not const, I'll say if the passwords don't match. So now if these two passwords match, the value of this will be true, right? If these two don't match, then the value of this will be false. So what I would then want to do now is I would say passwords and user passwords. So if the passwords and user passwords match, right, this will be true. So what I want to do is I want to always negate what is being sent here. So if the user passwords match and this is true, then I want it that this if statement should be false so that it won't run. So what do I want to even do in this if statement? I want it that if the passwords don't match, right, that this if statement should tell the user that the password is incorrect, and then it should stop the code from executing furthermore. Okay, so I'll do that. So what do I do now? I'll say exclamation mark there, and I'll say do passwords match. So this now, what I've done here is this is going to only execute if the passwords don't match. So if this is false, right? If the two passwords don't match, this would be false. So here what I'm just saying is if the two passwords don't match, right, which means the password match will be false, turn it to true and execute this line of code. But if the two passwords match, this is going to be true. So turn this to false, and having false here is not going to allow the if statement to execute the code. I hope I'm not confusing anybody here. Okay, nobody's saying anything. Let's continue. Right, so what I want to do here is I'll say res.send or res.status. Maybe the status could be 400 because it's the user that did not provide a correct password. So 400 is saying the issue or the error is provided or is by the client. So the error is not something on the server. So I'll say the status dot send. Okay, REQ res. So res dot status dot send. And of course, what do I want to send here? I would send that I'll send a message. I'll say passwords do not match. Now, for some platforms, right, that they have high priority on their security, what they might want to do is whether the passwords match or the user doesn't exist, what they will just want to send to you would be invalid credentials on any of them. So whether the user does not exist, and so instead of telling you the user does not exist, they will just, the message here will be invalid credential. The message here when password do not match will be invalid credential. Why? So that you will not know if you're a hacker and you're trying to break in, right? You're trying to maybe find the user and then try to guess his password. When once you try, right, you just see invalid credential. You don't know if the user exists and the password is wrong, or the user does not exist, right? So that's a security measure you can use. I could just write invalid credentials here, invalid credentials here. So you don't know what is going on. So so that's a security measure, right? Another security measure, Sha, you can also put in places. You can limit the amount of times a user can attempt to log in. I know you guys must have seen that pattern in banking apps, right? When once you, if you try to log in like more than 5 times, it would block out their accounts, right? So you can do that. That can be implemented. In fact, I'm sure we'll do it in the nearest future. What you just do is anytime anytime that the user tries to log in and this if statement is running, right? What you just need to do is, before sending it that the user does not exist or password does not match, you can update the user attempt on the database, right? You can say if the user does not exist, you don't do anything, right? Or yeah, you might not do anything, but if passwords do not match, before sending a response that passwords does not match, you can write a query here, right? Or yeah, a query to increase the login attempts by one, right? And of course, you can have another if statement to check if the login attempts maybe somewhere here, right? Maybe after find one the email, you can check if the login attempts is up to 5. If it's up to 5, or let's take for example 5. If it's up to 5, or if maybe more than 5, you can just tell the user your account has been blocked, and then a return statement so it doesn't continue to try to maybe do any other thing. So that's how you can actually do that. So now if password match actually, right, these two won't be executed. So what do we do now? We just maybe we let me just send a response. res dot send uh I'll just say logged in successfully. So the message here would be logged in successfully. Login successful. SECESS. Login successful. Okay, so we've done that. What else do we need to do? Now let me
Hello,
check
sir.
if I did something. When
Hello,
anytime
sir.
okay,
Sorry
I,
for cutting in.
okay,
So, in the first if
okay,
statement, there was a return. But this
okay,
second one, there is no return.
okay. Thank you. That's a nice observation. Yes, there have to be a return here. So when once it tells you that the password does not match, it doesn't go to try and tell you login successful. Yeah, thank you for that. Now look
Okay,
at this.
thanks.
We have that user created successfully. This is going to send back a status of 200, right? If a user is created successfully, but it is more ethical, right, to send a status code of 201. So if you say response dot status here should be 201. So 201 is a status code that means created successfully. So if you're adding something, maybe to the database, right? If there is an endpoint that people have to send something, maybe send information to, and you're saving the information on a database, right? It's always good to send a status code of 201. So the person knows that, oh, okay, maybe let's say as the person is trying to register now, the person send his full name, email, and password. Or let's say a developer is using your interface. When he sends a full name, email, and password, right? When he sees 201 as a status code and user created successfully, he knows, okay, even without seeing this message, right? He knows that, okay, 201, okay, okay. There are some people that if they are creating this, right, they won't even send you a message. They'll just send only status 201, finish. So even if they expect that when once you see 201, you should know that what you sent the backend was created successfully. Okay, but on a general note, right, always add a response body, right, to describe what has happened, even if you have the status already. So another thing I'll need to do is I would need to export my login user because I just created it. I need to use it. So I'll come here, paste login user. Then of course on my user route, I need to put it there. So this is to register a user. I'll then say user routes dot post. Then user routes dot post to / login. Then I would want to, so now here, since the register and login is in the same controller, I can just write comma space. Then if I hold my controller and space down, I'll see login user. Then of course I can just write login user here, login user. So let's see, let me register and log in a user, for example. So of course, let's see what the full route will be. The full route will be / user, then I'll press my control and enter user routes to see what is inside user routes. So / user / login, right? That's how to log in. And then / user / new user is going to create a new user. I don't even like this new user. I'll just change this to register instead. So let's come back here and let's register a new user. So I'll say / user / register. Then the full name is going to be Victor P. The email is going to be Victor at kc for KodeCamp.com. Password is going to be Victor KC, Victor Case, which is Victor KodeCamp. If I do that, of course, you see, user created successfully. We have a post request, and then of course the response. Oh, sorry, we have that we sent a post request to that route. This is the response. This is how long it took. Then of course, let me try to log in with that same. So all I just need to do is I need to remove the full name because I'm not going to use full name while trying to log in. So this is a / user / login. So if I send that, you'd see login successful. If I try to change this password, let me send Victor instead of Victor KC. Of course, passwords do not match. If I change, let me change this to at vic.kc, you'd see it will tell us the user does not exist. Okay. So if I change this to the correct user, it will say the passwords don't match. If I change this to Victor KC and I send that, you see login successful. Okay, so is there any question based on what I've done so far? Any question?
Please, can the question come outside today's this thing?
Okay, but will it be related to back end? To what we are?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, you can ask your question.
Okay, because I want to find out now that we want to write a program, a package, full
Okay.
package from lesson 6 or 7 that we started. I come to understand some things. Then I want verification. We know we will use VS Code and
Yeah.
NodeJs to write
Yeah.
our package.
Yes.
Then before we start writing a full this thing, we have to set up a package manager with the npm, where we will now have other things under like version description, entry point. And
Yes.
entry point is where we will use to run the script, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Then after that, we need to create an Express.js so that our this thing will be monitored with by Express, right?
Yes. Okay. So I think I understand your question. You want the step by step
Yes, yes,
to set up a project, right?
yes.
Okay. So let me describe that to you. Let me describe
Okay,
that. So first of all, you will initialize your project. Okay.
okay, okay,
Using npm init. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to install Express. So in,
okay,
initializing the package first, then installing Express second. Then after
okay,
installing Express, you would install every other thing you need for that project. So if you're
okay.
going
Like
to
Red Client.
not web clients, you install Mongoose, you would
Okay,
install Morgan if you want to log information out. Uh,
okay,
you would install all those other dependencies just the same way you install Express. You did npm install
okay,
Express, you do npm install Mongoose, npm install Morgan, and the rest. Now, after
okay,
doing that, the next thing you would do is you would start setting up your Express. So,
okay,
setting up your Express is doing this, right? Calling your Express
okay,
server. You import your Express at your entry point. Then after importing the Express at your entry points, you call it, right? Or you
okay,
create an instance, right, of that Express uh, server, right? You
okay,
create an instance of Express, right? We
okay,
call this instance server, or some people are calling it app, whatever you call it, doesn't really matter, but it just has to be a valid variable name. So then you can use that instance to refer to whatever you want to do. So
okay,
what I did here is these are middlewares, server.use. Anywhere you see use, just know that it's a middleware. So what is a middleware? A middleware is just a function that can execute a particular code and call the next function that precedes it. So
okay,
this express.json now is a middleware, right? This express.json,
okay,
after converting your request body, your JSON request body, right? After working on it, it calls the next function. So the next function might be the route directly that is going to handle that request that you've made.
okay,
Okay. Yes. Then of course, before that request reached the that server, right? That request would pass through any other middleware that will want to work on it. So like for example, if you send a JSON a request that has a JSON request body, this middleware here is going to be the one to process that JSON request, right? And then after that,
Okay.
URL encoded, this one is going to be executed the if the request you sent is a URL encoded request. But since it's a
Okay.
JSON request, after this one is executed, right? The next
Okay.
one that will be called, the next middleware that will be called would be this logger. So this logger is what
Okay.
shows log that you find here. Then, of course, when this project is run first, this connection was already created. So, and this connection isn't a middleware. If you notice, we did not wrap it around server.use. So
Yes.
it's not necessary. This one is going to be executed. This line of code here, this one to connect to the MongoDB is going to be executed as soon as you start the project.
Okay.
Then you have your routes. You can have multiple routes here that you want to connect, right? Of
Okay.
course, any request that comes in to your index.js, or sorry, comes into your package or your API, first goes to index.js. Then index.js is going to be, yeah, it first goes to Express, right? Express is going to, oh sorry, did I say Express? It's going to go into your index.js. Sorry about that mix up, right? Then Express is going to decide which particular route is going uh,
Okay.
uh to process that request. So depending on the structure of the endpoint, right? It's going to know that
Yes.
okay, if your request URL starts with /products, it will send that request to this product route. If it's
Okay.
/user, it's going to send it to user route. Okay, then of course, after all this, you want when you execute uh when you run this your index.js, right? You don't want
Okay.
it to just run and stop like at the same time. You want it to be there and be listening to requests, right? On a particular
Okay.
port. So that's the reason for this line of code here.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I just did now, everything you find here, right? Everything
Mm-hmm.
models okay, apart from models, right? The products controller is linked to the route. The route is
Okay.
linked to index.js.
Okay.
Yes. So everything in a way has to do with
Index.
index.js. So for example, if you make a request, right? The request comes to the route, right? Let's take for example, I make a post request to add a product. The request comes to the products to this products middleware. Then it's handed to this route here. Then this route hands that request to create product. Now create
Okay.
product. Now if we enter create product now calls the model, right? That has to do
Mm.
with product, and it calls the create function for that model. So we are saying when once create product is being called, right, by by the router, we should create a product at once.
Okay.
And after creating a product, we should send a response that the product was created successfully.
Successfully. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay, so
Can I
what
ask another question?
okay.
Okay. Sorry, I want to also know because last session I did not really have tried to review it. What is the difference between post, put, get in the routes as you are
Okay.
sending?
Yeah, continue.
Like if you want, you say post slash 3000 this. What is the difference between this post put get?
Okay. Now, post is used to send data, right? Is used, in fact, post, put, patch, can be used to send data, right? From, let's say, let's not call it data, let's call it request body. You can send a request with a payload or a request body to the back end. Okay. Now,
Okay.
why do we have post, put, patch? Now, the reason is to understand what they do. Anytime you see a put route, right? Or anytime you're creating a put route, you should have it in mind that a put route shouldn't be used to create a new record on your database. Rather, it should be used to change properties of a record on your database. Meanwhile, post might not be used every time create um um to create uh records on your database, right? But the reason for post is that you it's not okay. Let me say it like this. It's not right for you to use get request to send a get request with request body on it. That's one. Number two, when get is used to actually get data from the back end, not send
Okay.
data to the back end. When you say get, for example, if you look at how we structure this, right? We say get here, get all products. Now we are getting all the products from the back end. We are not telling the server, or we are not giving the server any request body that okay, this is the request body one.
Okay.
We are getting information from the server. Now,
Okay.
here we say get a particular product, and we are passing the product ID as the parameter, as that's in the route. So we are getting that particular product. Now, post is used when you are sending information to the server. You understand? And most times that information might be used to create a record on the server, right? So another place that post can be used is, let's say, if you're trying to maybe implement a search feature on a server, that's maybe to search for a particular, maybe for example, you have a list of users, you want to search for a particular user, you can still use post to implement that. Then that post now can have maybe a request body and property as maybe search keyword. You understand? And then when that search keyword goes to the back end would then return list of users that match that keyword you're searching for, right? But that is just another application for post, right? But post is just used to send data to backend. It's now the backend that will decide, okay, do I save this data or what should I use this data to do, right? Put is used to send. Now, put and patch are different. Put is used to send requests that should alter all the all the let's say all the properties, right, on a record, or at least if not all but most of the properties on a record. Meanwhile, patch can be used to uh to modify a particular property, right? A particular property, not all the property on a record. Then of course delete, as the name implies, now it's used to delete. So one reason for all this is to make it kind of clear because we can have post to forward slash user, right? And we can say, okay, for example, this post and this get, their names are actually the same, right? If you look, their names are actually the same. Products, their routes are actually the same, but one is a post, one is a get. So if I send the request to get, I know that definitely I'm getting something back, right? If I send post, it means I want to try and create something. Does it make sense to you now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So what have we talked about today? We've talked about code splitting, right? We've also talked about Bcrypt. Okay, so we don't have that much time to say we should start talking about authentication, right? Time has already gone. Okay, so I'll be rounding up now. Um, let's see. Okay, we don't really have time. It's almost 4 o'clock, right? And we need to call it a day, right? Um, would
That postman stuff.
Yes, I remember we are supposed to talk about Postman, right? But then Postman is not difficult if you look at it. Postman is not even it's not an issue. Um let me see. Let me just show you guys how you can actually document if I can.
Hello, boss.
Yes,
There was a link I sent to you. There was a link I
Boss,
sent.
does it mean that there'll be an extension for this the tax you gave us?
there will be an extension for what?
The tax you gave.
Extension. Why would there be an extension? There won't be an extension. You have to do it.
Because
Tomorrow
of
is
the documentation.
the documentation is not going to be an issue.
Yeah, look,
Okay.
there's a link I sent to you. I don't know if that's the documentation you're talking about. Hello?
Yeah.
I
What
said
did you say?
a link I sent you a link because I was like, that's the documentation we're talking about. The way it should look like.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I would need to end this class now. Yes, I think okay. We need to end this class now. So any other any other question, right? You have we are going to talk about it on the Discord channel, right? So I need to end the class now.